when I was 25, I was living in a small apartment with a girlfriend, and one day I was in the kitchen just scrubbing dishes because I was an awesome boyfriend. And she yelled from across the room, or from across the apartment, "Hey, is something burning?" And I was like, no, nothing's burning. And she's like, "Are you sure that nothing's burning?" And I was like, "No, definitely, nothing is burning." And she comes into the kitchen and finds me standing next to, like literally so close that I could put my arm around it, this George Foreman grill just pouring smoke, like literally thick black electricals, like nothing was cooking, it was just on fire. Now, I know why I couldn't see the smoke, and that's because I was looking down doing this. This is how you wash dishes. But I couldn't smell it. Now, a few years prior, that same girlfriend had given me a taste test between mint ice cream and peanut butter ice cream, and I couldn't tell the difference. So I knew that something was wrong, but I wasn't freaked out about it until then, because I didn't want to die in a fire. And so that's why I went and I got myself checked out at this place. Man, this button is not sensitive enough. There we go. This place. It is a taste and smell center, and that one's in Connecticut. And that's where doctors poked and prodded, and they stuck this fiber optic telescope up my nose. And it goes up so far, and eventually you're like, I don't know anything about biology, but is this going to poke my brain? And they stuck a finger in my butt, and I don't even know why. And eventually they gave me the conclusion, and the conclusion was this. I have damaged olfactory nerves. I have what's called severe hyposmia. It's a near inability to taste and smell. Now, quick science lesson. That is your sense of taste. It is just your tongue. You use the sense of you use the word taste to say, I taste this, I taste that. In fact, taste is just putting things into quadrants. It's just sweet, salty, sour, bitter. Umami is the taste of savory that the Japanese have added to the lexicon. But in fact, that is it. Now, when you eat food, odor molecules go to the back of your throat and up and are read by your olfactory nerves, and that is what creates the sensation of flavor. Let me explain it to you a little bit better. Come on, button. Button. Really? No button? Who wants a brownie? So no, really, who wants a brownie? I actually have brownies. I'm just chucking them out. I went to Whole Foods today. I pre-packaged these myself. I want you to know, well, there goes that one. Cage-free eggs were used in here, no hydrogenated oils. You know what, let's see, I'm just gonna do that, see what happens. Yeah, I love it. Oh no, here, okay. Yeah. Brownies, last one. There you go. All right. Now, if you got a brownie or if you didn't get a brownie, either way, just yell this is not a trick question, just what's the first thing that you think of with brownie? Chocolate, exactly. I should have let you go on longer and made it more dramatic, but whatever, I got 7 minutes. So, chocolate, it's true. Now, here's why it's chocolate. It's because when you put this thing in your mouth, your tongue says sweet. But then, odor molecules from I shouldn't have bit this thing while I'm talking, this is stupid. But then, odor molecules go to the back of your throat and up, and that's what turns it into chocolate. That's why all I can get is sweet from this. You get chocolate. I get sweet. Strangely, though, when I eat this, I do get a sensation of chocolate, and that's because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking chocolate, and so there's some sort of chocolate. But if I was blindfolded and you gave this to me, it might as well be vanilla. So what is going on here? Well, here's what's going on here. You and me, we're not that different. In one of my favorite experiments, a researcher at Brown University named Rachel Herz brought people into a room and gave them an unmarked jar and told them that Parmesan cheese was inside. And she had them smell it, and they said, do you like it? Yes. What would you do with it? I would eat it. And then she sends them on their merry way and brings them back a week later and gives them an unmarked jar and tells them that vomit is inside. And they're like, oh, terrible. And she's, what would do you like it? No, we hate it. What would you do with it? We would get it away from it. We wouldn't do anything with it. But here's the thing. She had given them the same unmarked jar with the same stuff inside, and it wasn't parm and it wasn't vomit. It was that, isovaleric acid and butyric acid. Now, I wanted to reproduce that experiment here, but I didn't have soundproofing and I didn't know where to get those chemicals. Anyway, it got complicated. So instead, I want you to experience this.
Ba, 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 ba.
But look what happens when we change the picture.
Ba, 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 ba.
Did you hear va that second time? Va. You heard ba the same time with a B. Ba. So what is going on here? Well, here is, like why did people think that the jars were different, and why did you hear something different? Here's a neuroscientist that I interviewed named Daniel Wesson. Hopefully. Maybe not? That's not working? Well, anyway, here's what Daniel Wesson said. This is not the voice of Daniel Wesson, but I will try to channel him. Daniel Wesson said that things interact in the brain in a really fascinating way. We do not rely on one sense. We never rely on only one sense. We think of them as separate, but they are not. And so and studies have shown that if you were to give sommeliers white wine with red food coloring, they will think that it's red wine. It's not, we are never relying on one particular scent. So that is where you crazy advertising people come in. Take stock of what my notes say he just said there, but what I just said there. Our senses of taste and smell are not nearly as precise as we think they are. We rely on all of our senses, and that means that if you pitch a product in a certain way, if you make it look a certain way, if you make me connect with it in a certain way, then you change the actual taste of that product. You change someone's experience. An example. This is the New Jersey Laboratory of International Flavors and Fragrances, and those are some of the roughly 2,000 chemicals that they regularly combine to make tastes and smells. On a scale, I saw a scientist drip a bunch of these things in and create peppermint. Talking to the people at IFF is fascinating because they understand more than anyone how fungible taste and smell is. One lab assistant told me that they could make a pineapple flavor and change one ingredient, and technically it would be papaya. But if you gave that papaya to somebody and told them that it was pineapple still, they would believe that it's pineapple. In fact, IFF creates a lot of tastes that are just called generic fruit. Like, that's actually what they call them. That's how they refer to it, generic fruit. But if you were to take that generic fruit and put it in a bottle and label it apple juice and say that it is the most appley, applicious, aptastic apple juice anyone's ever appled, then by God, people are going to think it's apple juice. Now that is a lot of power. Of course, I'm mostly immune to all this because I don't really care about the flavors of particular things. So, just imagine watching like food advertising from my perspective. It's just a world of people who are like obsessed with this totally imaginary thing. It's like being an atheist watching the Crusades, Like, one commercial that really drives me crazy is this Miller Lite commercial where this guy walks into a bar. It's like a number of them, but the setup is always the same, where this guy walks into a bar and he goes over to the bartender and he asks for a light beer, and this hot bartender is like, do you want one with more or less taste? Which is like not a question that anyone would ask. But he doesn't care, and so he's like, whatever, and he gets, of course, the one with less taste, and it turns out that he is a total tool. And I want you to know something. I am that guy. Like, that is supposed to be me. I don't care what kind of flavor the beer has, except that I do not own that shirt, and I do not own those pants. I do not. This is discrimination, advertising people. So, friends ask me often, why do I bother ordering anything at all? Or rather, why do I think about when I order anything at all? If I didn't order anything, I would die. But why do I think about it? And, really, the truthful answer is because if I can't just ask a waiter to, like, bring me the food, But also because there are certain things that I can appreciate. I can appreciate texture. I can appreciate spiciness. Spiciness, turns out, fun fact, not a taste or a flavor. It's actually your trigeminal nerve, fifth cranial nerve inside your face. So, but here's where I'm lucky. A few weeks ago, I was home and I was feeling lazy and there wasn't much food around. And so I put some peanut butter and cheese and spinach on a sandwich and I ate it, and it was good, and no advertisement can tell me otherwise, so screw you all. And that is it. Thank you.